What's the deal, everybody? As you guys know, if you listen to the first part of this episode with James, this is indeed the second part. If you're listening to this and you have not listened to the first part of this episode, go listen to the first part. Do not just skip to the second part. It won't be as fun. You won't be as engaged. You won't understand the full conversation. So definitely go listen to that first part if you haven't already, whether it's on the YouTube channel or it's on all the podcast platforms that we are available on. I want to thank you guys for tuning in and making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. But we're going to get right back into it. This is the final segment. It lasted about 20 minutes with James in this final segment. Again, a lot of juicy information, a lot of cool stuff talked about here. A really good conversation going back and forth between me and James. So I hope you guys enjoy this second part episode. If you guys enjoyed having these two-part episodes where I have a guest on and we go on longer, and instead of cutting the conversation short, you guys like having two-part episodes, definitely let me know in the comment section down below or over on Twitter at Kook Hill. But I'll stop talking for now. Go enjoy the rest of this episode. I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Okay, so two ones here, and then we'll move on to the final segment.
Okay.
Most likely to be traded: Isaiah Stewart or Bojan Bogdanovic?
Oh, that's a good one.
I have an answer.
Well, I know your answer.
You don't know what my answer is.
I know your answer. Woo, that's a tough one because I think they legitimately want to keep Bojan because they do want to be better, right? But I also think they will do everything in their power to keep Stu and then eventually shift him to the role that they project for him going forward. I'm going to say Bogey because I think somebody ponies up whatever their asking price is.
My answer is Stu.
I knew it was. Like, come on.
Now, I'll say this. My answer is Stu, but also because I'm not going to force you to say anything. I'm not going to make you say anything. Yeah. I'll simply just say that I've heard that they're, I won't say willing to move him, but they are, my way of, I'd say that they're more willing to move him now than they were like maybe last year, I'd say. It's not that they want to move him, but I'd say last year they were just completely like, we're not moving him. Where now it's like, it could happen. Not even that it's likely, but I think it could happen.
I was always under the impression that the only way Stu would get traded is if Troy felt like he had to do something because his job was on the line. So,
and I think that's
and we could be at that point, right? Like, so I get it, but I think that's a tough one. That's probably the two toughest. That's the two toughest combo. Like low key.
I think
that's
those
the two toughest combo you could have asked together.
I did on purpose. I think those are the two most likely to be traded
because they want both. Like if it's up to them, they would love to keep both. But if they do something,
they're going to have to move off.
It depends on what something is, right? So I think if you go for the big swing, I think you could avoid having Stu out of it, right? Like if you then have to do Ivy and get the picks back, whatever, or Duren and get the picks back, whatever. But if you're doing something just to alter the trajectory a little bit more, like then it probably sounds more like Stu, right? So that's a tough one.
All right, last one. Most likely to be traded.
I know. Can I guess who it is?
Who?
Ivy and Duren.
Oh my God, that's a good guess. Yes, that was who it was.
Okay.
Can I just like suggest? Can I take a guess at why you believe or you feel like it's a hard decision? I think that.
Go ahead.
Let me just say this. This is just my read on the situation. Also combined with like just the minimal amount of potential like intel I have. I don't have anywhere near what you have, obviously, but just the minimal amount that I do have.
Okay.
Ivy's situation is incredibly interesting, and I think, like you mentioned, they are sizing up to make a move. And eventually when you do make a move, it's not going to be just Killian Hayes and Isaiah Stewart in the trade. Like someone of value is going to have to be in there that people like. And I think they love Cade, obviously. Cade's not going nowhere unless he wants out.
And they love Asar.
Yeah, and they love Asar. And
I think some people love Duren as much as they love Cade and Asar, and some might not.
Well, that's why I was going next, is that Duren, I'd say at this point, this is just a tough I had this tough conversation with my listeners a few like last week. Ivy, I think, is probably the most expendable at this point because of his situation with Monty.
And the guards that they have, like
Right.
They have a little bit more depth there. Like I think people feel good about their future at guard for the most part. Right.
And then Duren, I think, has crept up, to being possibly more expendable than Cade, or not Cade, Ivy. I think Duren, while I'm very high on him, and I think his future is gonna be great. I think what Cade needs in a big man is easily replaceable. I think you can go get guys that can do what he needs, and if you can get rid of Duren to get something that's more impactful, and then replace him with like a Clint Capella or like something like that,
Jared
I think you get away with
Allen,
that.
yeah.
So my answer is Duren.
You've gotten a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say smarter because I'm never insinuating you're dumb. But okay. I see you cool.
James, I've developed. See, this is what you got to understand. I'm 26 years old now.
Your brain is developed now, is what you're saying. Okay.
I'm 26 now, and I've been doing this for a while. So I've developed past the point of, at first I was just a fan, and now I've developed past that to where I'm now.
At least you might not always agree with the man, the powers that be, but you understand. Like, it's not just straight like fire everybody. It's not straight.
Correct.
Like, you understand where everybody's coming from. Your brain is developed. You're 26. I think the brain stopped. You're good. Shout out to you, Koo. I'm proud of you.
I feel like I'm 300.
You've come a long way. You've come much further than Sekou's a future All-NBA player. So I'm proud of you. Question: is that true? Is that Killian Hayes? Is that really his burner? Did you see that?
No, that's not his burner. Man.
Okay, I didn't think so, but I just saw it before I got on your show, and I was like,
that tweet. He has tweets during the game. Those ones have like that kind of has tweets like during the game.
Okay, then it's not. No, that's hilarious though. All right, so I think you made salient points. I think the biggest point you made is that if we assume the best version of Duren is a running rim protector who can be a hub of an offense, make good passes, like very good player, like that's great, right? Unless you can space the floor, I think, that's what takes you to another level as a big man. Like, we agree with that. Like you said, more than likely he'll end up being better than a Clint Capella, but does Clint Capella get the job done? Yes, right? I think also Duren brings you back something better than Jaden does.
I agree with that as well.
So I think it's like, okay, if you think you can get like you said, a Clint Capella is a good name, but you can trading Duren get you something good. I think you consider it, right? I think it's funny because I think Duren has massive fans. Like, if they only had one pick in that draft, it would have been Duren. I'm letting you guys know.
So you're saying that just straight up right here?
Yeah, I've reported that before. Like, Duren was like very high on their board. I think I've written that before. If not, then sure, they have breaking news. Duren was the guy that they really wanted outside of the top three. They got him, and they were able to get Ivy as well. But there are people who, and rightfully so, very much think Ivy's like going to be really good, and I get it. I think there's possibility he is too. But I think I think still the mystery of Duren trumps because Ivy's played so much, and it just his style of play. It's like it's either for you or it's not, right? Like, it's not for everybody. So if you're running a team and some people like that type of guard, just kind of like you have to live and die with it, right? Like, whatever they do. Pretty much everybody likes what the best version of Duren could be. Whether or not he gets there, that's up there. I would have liked to see more from him as the rim protector this year when he has played. I still think Isaiah Stewart's the best rim protector on the team, to be honest. I don't know if people agree or disagree with that. Even though he might not block shots as much, I just think Duren's still just like the processing's just a little like he's 20, whatever. Like, you expect it. So yeah, that's a good one too. I mean, on paper, it feels like Ivy's the most expendable. So I agree with you. I agree with
that as well.
But I think Duren gets you the best thing. So it kind of just depends on if the best thing comes around before you decide where you're at with Ivy. It's a good one.
All right, fair enough.
I
Before I move,
hope that wasn't a cop out. I feel
no,
like
it's
I
not
tried
a
to
cop out.
explain two different routes. Yeah, for two different answers.
I know you guys were enjoying this segment, but I gotta cut it off for just a brief second to tell you guys about one of my favorite sponsors, Gametime. For someone like me who is a procrastinator who waits to the last second with everything, especially when it comes to purchasing tickets, it always ends up biting me in the back because I always end up getting the worst seats. I end up getting terrible prices. I end up getting terrible deals. But with Gametime, you get last minute deals all the way up again, obviously, to the last minute, and sometimes even after the event starts. With Gametime, you can purchase tickets to sporting events, music events, comedy events, theater events, any kind of event you can purchase tickets to with Gametime. And not only do they have those last minute ticket deals with Gametime, another great thing with Gametime is you get to see what your seat looks like on the app. A lot of times you purchase tickets, you show up, you're like, oh God, these tickets, the seat was not very good. I shouldn't have gotten these ones. You don't have to worry about that with Gametime. You see exactly where your seat is going to be at before you have to purchase them. Another great thing with Gametime, you don't have to go digging through your email to get your tickets. You simply click the app, 2 taps, you're set. It's right there for you. Gametime is the best way to purchase your tickets, to go about getting your tickets to any event. I love Gametime. I know you guys will too. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed with Gametime. All right, so before we leave off and talk about just quickly hit it because we're at 40 minutes now. I'm gonna get killed, but I have to ask you about ownership. I couldn't let you leave without asking this. What's going on with Killian Hayes, man? Just let me know. Because
You confused me. We're talking about ownership or Killian Hayes?
No, I have to ask you about Killian Hayes real quick before we get into ownership.
Okay,
What's going on? Because it's very
has
confusing.
the flu.
No, not with the flu. I know he's actually
he's
sick.
wearing a mask after the who they play in the second game. Where was that? Milwaukee. He was wearing a mask in the locker room in Milwaukee. Yeah, he was actually sick. Monty was sick too. He wore a mask to pregame a couple.
I saw that. Ago.
Yeah. So they've been sick. But go ahead.
What's going on with Killian? Because the read on his situations, I think, is really interesting. Obviously, as a Killian fan, I believe in Killian's future. But I feel like just looking at his situation is interesting because he's playing better this year. I think he's actually better this year.
Yeah, I think what he does well is glaring because it's been such a bad thing from a lot of other people on the team. Keep making the right read, not turning the ball over.
He's also shooting career highs from field goal and 2-point area. He's getting to the rim more.
Yep.
That kind of thing. 3-point shooting is actually better than it ever has, but it's still not good enough. But either way,
bar was low there.
Right. So I think he's better this year. I think he's played well.
I think that's correct. I think has had moments. Yeah.
I think Monty really likes him.
Yep.
And obviously the front office, Weaver has to like him because he drafted him. He has to have some level of belief in him. And they haven't moved him. And it's like, what's going on? Are they moving him? Monte is out. Has Killian played well enough to be a backup point guard in the NBA? I think he's been backup worthy this year. What's the situation here? Because it feels like, actually, I don't want to go too long. Answer this one quick. Answer this one quick.
Yeah. Let me maybe knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. I think the reason I think there's a conspiracy out there that Ivy's not playing because they're going to trade him. Like, you've seen that, right? Or maybe you've even that's like a thing that people think. Whether or not they end up trading him at some point, I don't think it has anything to do with this. Monty likes Killian. I think the front office would prefer Jaden to get more of the minutes. And I will say also that I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't hire Monty. I'm not 100% sure Killian is a Piston. I think Monty is the big reason why he's still a Piston.
That makes sense. I said in the offseason when they hired Monty that Monty was going to love Killian because of his high processing, all that stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been. I'm saying this in a roundabout way. I wouldn't have been surprised if Killian was traded this summer if they didn't hire Monty.
So do you think he's going to be traded before the deadline, man?
I don't want to break your heart in December.
Okay, so yes, I know
I
it's not
don't know.
breaking my
I don't
heart.
know. I still don't know if teams like value him.
I mean, I'd love to
That's
see him
what
go to San Antonio if he gets moved.
I mean, that makes logic. That makes the most logical sense for everybody, right? I just don't know. Other teams I've talked to, like I haven't personally found someone in an NBA, and I don't talk to every. I don't have people at every single team, but the people I do know, I haven't really found like a Killian Hayes fan.
All right, fair enough.
So I
Maybe
don't
he
know.
just stays in Detroit.
I just know they were far off on an extension, very far off, and yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm not trying to like mess with you. I don't know if he does or not.
All right, so since we went so far, this is gonna be a simple, quick answer, and I gotta get out of here.
All right.
Is ownership? People think ownership is asleep at the wheel. Is Tom Gores aware of what's going on? Is he active? Is he going like? Is he active in things like what's going on with ownership quickly, and then we'll wrap it up.
Ownership, yes, they are aware of what's happening with the basketball team. I'll say this, man. I understand like the restlessness from fans. They understand the restlessness from fans. But I think they also understand like they decided to go down this route and they don't want to mess it up by doing something out of restlessness from the fan base, right? Like they want to make sure that they'll take all the lumps just to make sure if they believe in their vision and what they're doing, they'll take the lumps for it, right? It's kind of similar to whether or not Monty works out. It's still too soon to tell, but it's kind of a similar situation. I'll try to say it quickly. Like, as everybody knows, that was Tom really got that done. So now it's not working. Not only is it like, okay, we rushed that, like, let's not maybe rush this. And two, it's also like Troy has, like, not that Troy didn't want Monty, not saying that, they have a great relationship, but it's also like the guy you hire to make basketball decisions, while he approved and wanted Monty once it presented itself, it's not necessarily like that wasn't who he came to the table with. So it's like the guy you really wanted to go get, not saying that Troy didn't really want him either. I'm not saying that, but it was clear like Gores opened the pocketbook. He was like, how do we go get Monty, whatever. So it's almost like, is the coaching part of the reason that they're doing this? Is it the roster? Is it both? Whatever. It's probably both. But I think the fact that it's a new coach, Cade just came back. Again, everybody's tired of injuries. I think it's like, I know fans are like tired of hearing injuries, but like it's a thing. Like, I don't think they're on this losing streak if Bogey doesn't miss the first 2 months. Are they on a losing streak? Probably, but not 24 games, right? Like it's not. I can't prove it, but it's not. So I'm not saying nothing won't happen. I'm just saying I think they decided to if they went down the patient route, they're gonna try to be patient for as long as they can. And if I'm a fan, I understand why that would annoy the shit out or crap out of me, right? But if you've been a longtime Pistons fan and you're wondering how they got to this moment, rushing decisions is a big reason why. So remember, everybody wanted Dan Campbell fired. Everybody wanted the Fords to sell the team. Now they're both the mayors of Detroit. So I guess if you believe in it sounds like they believe in Troy and what he's doing, and this is a bad lump that no one saw coming. Not to say that something won't happen, but I think they're making sure they're giving him every chance to continue to show that this thing is on the right path, right?
All right, we'll wrap it up there. Damn near 50-minute episode, but I think it's worth it. Again,
apologies.
apologies.
Sorry, to your editor.
Yeah. Sorry to my boss, Nick. Sorry to David Locke. I apologize. It is what it is. I'll catch you guys later. Thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. Free and available on all your podcast platforms. Follow James over on Twitter at JLE Edwards with the 3 eyes.
JL Edwards, 3 eyes. You said JLE Edwards.
My fault.
That's all right. JL Edwards. Yeah.
You can also follow him over on The Athletic. Read all of his articles. Thank you, James, for joining us. I'll catch you guys later. Stay safe out there. Until next time. Peace out.